Today our topic is the Stoic view on facing your fears. Fear is something we all feel. It is natural. Fear can be big or small. It can be fear of failure, fear of what others think, fear of the unknown, or even fear of death. But the Stoics, who were ancient philosophers, had a special way of looking at fear. They believed that fear is not something to run away from. Instead, they thought fear is something to face, to understand, and to use to make us stronger. The Stoics teach us that fear is not the problem. The problem is how we react to fear. If we let fear control us, it can stop us from living a good life. But if we face our fears, we can grow and become better people. Let me explain how the Stoic philosophy can help us face our fears. First, the Stoics believed in focusing on what we can control. There are many things in life we cannot control. We cannot control the weather, what other people say or do, or even some of the things that happen to us. But we can control how we react to these things. This is a very important idea. When we feel fear, it is often because we are worried about things that are outside of our control. For example, if you are afraid of failing an exam, you cannot control the questions on the exam or how hard it will be. But you can control how much you study and how prepared you are. The Stoics would say, focus on what you can do, not on what you cannot change. This way, fear becomes smaller because you are putting your energy into action, not into worry. Another Stoic idea is to practice negative visualization. This means imagining the worst-case scenario. At first, this might sound scary. Why would anyone want to imagine the worst? But the Stoics believe that by imagining the worst, we can prepare ourselves for it. If we are ready for the worst, we are less likely to be afraid. For example, if you are afraid of losing your job, imagine what you would do if it happened. Would you find another job? Would you learn new skills? By thinking about this, you realize that even the worst situation is not the end of the world. You can survive it. This makes fear lose its power because you see that you can handle even the hardest situations. The Stoics also believed in accepting what happens. This is not the same as giving up. Acceptance means understanding that some things are out of our hands and that we must learn to live with them. For example, if you are afraid of getting sick, you cannot control whether or not you get sick. But you can control how you take care of your body and how you react if you do get sick. The Stoics would say, do not waste your energy fighting against things you cannot change. Instead, accept them and focus on what you can do. This does not mean you should not try to improve your life. It just means you should not let fear of the unknown stop you from living. One of the most famous Stoic philosophers, Epictetus, said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is a powerful idea. It means that fear is not in the situation itself, but in our mind. For example, two people might face the same situation, like speaking in public. One person might be very afraid, while the other is calm. The difference is not in the situation, but in how they think about it. The Stoics would say, if you change how you think, you can change how you feel. Instead of thinking, I am afraid of speaking in public, you can think, this is a chance for me to improve my skills and help others. By changing your thoughts, you can reduce your fear. Another Stoic philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is another key idea. Fear often comes from thinking about what might happen in the future. But the future is not here yet. The only thing we have is the present moment. The Stoics would say, focus on the present. Do what you can right now. Do not let your mind wander into worries about the future. If you focus on the present, fear has less room to grow. The Stoics also believed in practicing courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting even when you are afraid. For example, if you are afraid of heights, but you decide to climb a mountain anyway. That is courage. The Stoics would say, do not wait for fear to go away before you act. Act despite your fear. Each time you do this, you become stronger. Fear loses its power over you because you show yourself that you can face it. Another important Stoic idea is to remember that fear is just a feeling. It is not reality. Just because you feel afraid does not mean something bad will happen. Feelings come and go. They are not permanent. The Stoics would say, do not let your feelings control you. Observe your fear, but do not let it decide your actions. For example, if you are afraid of asking someone out on a date, remind yourself that this fear is just a feeling. It does not mean the person will say no. By separating your feelings from reality, you can make better decisions. The Stoics also believed in the importance of perspective. Fear often makes things seem bigger than they really are. For example, if you are afraid of flying, you might think about all the things that could go wrong. But in reality, flying is one of the safest ways to travel. The Stoics would say, try to see the bigger picture. Do not let fear make things seem worse than they are. Ask yourself, is this fear based on facts or is it just in my mind? By changing your perspective, you can reduce your fear. Finally, the Stoics believed in the importance of living a virtuous life. Virtue, for the Stoics, means living with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. They believe that if we focus on being virtuous, we will have less fear. This is because a virtuous person knows they are doing the right thing, even if it is hard. For example, if you are afraid of standing up for what is right, the Stoics would say, do it anyway. Living with virtue gives you inner strength. When you know you are doing the right thing, fear becomes less important. In conclusion, the Stoic view on facing your fears is about understanding that fear is a part of life, but it does not have to control us. By focusing on what we can control, practicing negative visualization, accepting what happens, changing our thoughts, focusing on the present, practicing courage, separating feelings from reality, changing our perspective, and living a virtuous life, we can face our fears and grow stronger. The Stoics teach us that fear is not the enemy. The enemy is letting fear stop us from living a good life. So the next time you feel afraid, remember the Stoic ideas. Face your fear, understand it, and use it to become a better person. Life is full of challenges, but with a Stoic mindset, you can face them with courage and strength.